Before Dracula there was Boudica, war queen Impaler, and the dark goddess Andraste. Dark goddesses do not favor females in their fury. Spring of 60 A.D., dawn slowly breaks upon the banks of a darkened river. That day was a fateful one for a Celtic queen who lived in the Roman-occupied land of Britain at the time. Her tears flowed into the murky stream as she gasped and chanted curses upon the Romans, slinging her blood-stained hands into and out of the water, her wrists opened by flint as she prepared to die. Her spouse and king, Prasutagus, had just recently died, having lived out his life under a forced alliance with Rome that was broken upon his death. Now that he was dead, she and her 2 daughters were left alone, for Rome had promptly confiscated his lands and property under terms of the alliance, whereby all of it was willed to the Emperor of Rome. To add insult to injury, the Romans publicly flogged her and raped her 2 daughters when she protested. Her name was Boudica. At the end of the public humiliation, flogging and rape of her daughters, she declared, "Nothing is safe from Roman pride and arrogance. They will deface the sacred and will deflower our virgins. Win the battle or perish. That is what I, a woman, will do." The sword from within the water. But she soon abandoned that thought and instead sought solace in suicide, believing that her threatening speech would leave her daughters as targets for destruction. Nearing collapse from the loss of blood, a hand arose from the water wielding a sword. Glinting in the sun, it awoke Boudica with its glare. "Arise, take my sword and my spirit upon you, for I am Andraste, goddess of bloodshed and battle. Accept my spirit, and I shall avenge you 7-fold. Say as I say, and I shall become the spirit within your spirit." Boudica, believing herself to be going mad but desperate to grasp the promise of this dark goddess in her final moments, accepted the challenge and recited the words of Andraste in all its strange and unknown language. Firelight arose in Andraste's eyes as she drank the spilled blood of Boudica. Andraste was a vampiric goddess of death, bloodshed, and war, and soon the deal was done. The blood of the undead had bonded with the living by the dark magic of Andraste. Andraste possesses the body and spirit of Boudica. When Boudica awoke hours later, there were no scars where she had sliced her wrists, yet the blade she had used laying beside her was still wet with blood. Peering into the stream to wash her face, she fell back in horrified shock, for her eyes reflected in the water blazed back at her with a supernatural fire. Her reflexes had changed, her will had become as iron, her training in weapons had a new and supernatural edge to its force. With the Roman provincial governor Gaius Suetonius Paulinus leading a military campaign in Wales, Boudica led an armed rebellion of the Iceni and members of other tribes resentful of Roman rule. After defeating the Roman 9th Legion, Boudica's forces destroyed Camulodunum, then the capital of Roman Britain, and massacred its inhabitants. Female prisoners of war were sacrificed to Andraste in a particularly gruesome manner that outdid Dracula's own tortures at a later date. Boudica's name comes from the Celtic word for victory, Buda. Before Dracula, there was Boudica. The Ascenti took up arms with the Trinovantes, who rebelled due to bloated taxes and the blasphemously lavish temple devoted to Claudius upon their lands. Boudica had amassed a huge army that proceeded to sack the Roman city of Camulodunum. She then proceeded to attack London and Verulamium before being defeated by the Roman governor Suetonius Paulinus, who had to interrupt his destruction of the Druidic groves on Anglesey to put down the uprising led by Boudica. After the sack of London, the female prisoners captured by Boudica were sacrificed in Andraste's grove. Their breasts were cut off and stuffed in their mouths after their jaws were broken. Then they were impaled on great wooden skewers and left to die in agony. The male prisoners were merely dispatched. The propitiation of Andraste demanded blood sacrifices as a battle goddess. Andraste, like so many dark goddesses, has no inkling of favoritism towards females and in fact makes it a point to destroy not empower them. The sugarizing by later-day Wiccans and witches overlooks the historical facts, including the favored destruction of female infants by such Anunnaki goddesses of the underworld and Ereshkigal, another name for Lilith. Dark female goddesses are not female-friendly. Contrary to the sugarized psychology of those witches and others of the so-called satanic left-hand path who project their own feminist ideals onto those of a dark goddess, Boudica remains as a historical fact of a human war queen who was possessed by a vampiric war goddess, Andraste. When Andraste had fulfilled her promise to avenge Boudica in a sevenfold slaughter which was supernaturally effective, she left her to the fate of the Romans who in turn destroyed her. There is no gender favoritism when you are dealing with a dark goddess. Go ahead. Pay up your $10 to some fraudulent psychic on Etsy or elsewhere to see what dark goddess is calling you or who has a message just for you. Fool. Dark goddesses are cold-blooded murderers. Was Andraste essentially evil? Yes, of course, and evil goddesses don't play favorites with human females. They kill them, whether rich or poor, exalted or homeless, whether they are witches or nuns. It is they, not you, who control the outcome of any interaction. And woe unto any who break a deal. They are crucified and flayed, leaving their spirit bodies to rot in agony. Break a deal with a dark goddess, and you'll pray to Satan for relief. But alas, he is too smart and fearful to fuck around with the dark goddesses. It takes a pretty dumb witch to do that. And of that there are no shortages. And as the tale of Boudica concludes, the echoes of ancient battles and dark deities linger on. If the chilling embrace of the past has intrigued you, dare to delve deeper with The Last Harvest, a secret history of Lucifer, aliens, the Illuminati, and the fate of humanity. This gripping exposé by Lucian Mars takes you through the hidden corridors of the secrets of the Anunnaki, the mystique of Lucifer, and the startling revelations about our very existence. Your journey through the forgotten history awaits. Find The Last Harvest on Kindle and Amazon, now just a click away. Unveil the mysteries that have shaped our past and may decide our future. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more glimpses into the veiled past. Join us on this journey of discovery and awaken to the truth that lies just beneath the surface.